Hello, this is CoinWeek editor Charles Morgan. Today we're going to look at major collectible varieties of 1794 cents. Coin collectors studied and cataloged varieties of early date cents long before Dr. William Sheldon published his landmark book, Early American Cents, in 1949. But it was Sheldon's perspective on this series, his cataloging system, and his follow-up, Penny Whimsy, published in 1958, that revolutionized this collecting specialty. But before we get into that, I wanted to suggest that you consider joining Early American Coppers. The EAC comprises of over 1,200 members. It is an organization that is deeply interested in all facets of early copper collecting, research, and grading. You do not need to have $1 million copper coin collection to benefit from being a member, but if you are a serious collector of early American copper coins, you'd be making a big mistake by not signing up. The EAC publishes the award-winning quarterly magazine, Pennywise. A number of the articles published have broken new ground in our understanding of America's half-cent and large 1-cent coins. The EAC has also generously supported the creation of this video. You can learn more about the EAC by visiting their website, eacs.org. Today we're going to run down each of the collectible 1794 cent varieties. Early copper collectors use the Sheldon numbering system. Sheldon begins his catalog with the number 1, which he gives to the notorious 1793 chain cent with a Y date and the Emery dot, and continues through all the varieties of 1793 cents, be they chain, wreath, or flowing hair type. The mint settled on the flowing hair design in the latter part of 1793. 1793 proved to be a very turbulent year for the new mint. Silver and gold coinage could not get underway until a bond issue was resolved with the mint's workers. The yellow fever epidemic shut down the capital city, and the mint's newly hired chief engraver, Joseph Wright, and his wife succumbed to the disease. Things got much more stable in 1794, and this is where our variety story begins. The 1794 issues have long been a favorite collecting area for the collectors of early copper coins, as they are considerably easier to locate than the 1793 issues, due to the 1794 ample mintage. The collectible 1794 flowing hair varieties starts with Sheldon number 17A and continues through Sheldon number 72. This range of varieties will be the focus of our video. Also, in this video, I'm going to break down some key features to look for each variety. I'd like to thank EAC, the American Numismatic Society, Professional Coin Grading Service, Heritage Auctions, Stack's Bowers Galleries, and Goldbird Auctioneers for the great research and photographs that they have made available for each of these varieties. A complete rundown of where we source each photo will run at the end of our video. I'd also like to comment how indispensable the William Noyes book on the subject of United States large cents from 1793 to 1814 has been for my research on this project. Noyes' detailed descriptions get to the point, and you should have a copy of this work in your library, even though it is a little dated. Okay, let's begin. The 1794 cent was struck using at least 36 obverse and 39 reverse dies. Most of these die pairings are collectible. The first catalog pairing is the Sheldon 17A. There are two Sheldon 17s. One is the collectible 17A and the other is the 17B, which is also known as NC4 or not collectible 4. That coin features the edge of 94. 17A uses the head of 93 with a wide straight date and the edge of 93. The edge reads 100 for $1 with a single leaf pointing down. This die variety features obverse 1 and reverse A. Note the wide straight date. The date on obverse 3, which we will discuss in a moment, is also straight, but the numbers are wider apart on this die. On the reverse, you will notice 8 berries on the left and 7 on the right. Also notice the configuration of the ribbon knot and where it's located at the crossing of the wreath stems. The fraction bar is long and slightly curved. This example is the Grunthal-Sheldon Nafsker specimen. Sheldon 18 has two subvarieties, Sheldon 18A with the edge of 93 and Sheldon 18B with the edge of 94. Both varieties pair obverse 2 with reverse A. Obverse 2 features a prominent double chin, a curved date. This variety continues to use reverse A. This Sheldon 18A example is the Calvin Nafsker Bland specimen. It has the edge of 1793 with 100 for $1, followed by a single leaf pointing down. This Sheldon 18B is the McCoy, Levick, Jenks, Parmalee, Garrett, Adams, Nafsker specimen. It has the edge of 1794 with 100 for $1, followed by a single leaf pointing up. As was the case with Sheldon 17 and 18, Sheldon 19 also has two subvarieties that are differentiated by the orientation of the leaf on the edge. Remember, A is leaf pointing down, while B is leaf pointing up. This Sheldon 19A is the attractive Smith Sheldon Nafsker Holmes Walter Husak Al Boca specimen. It features the double chin obverse 2 paired with a new reverse B. And here's an example of Sheldon 19. This is the Grellman-Reynolds specimen. The Sheldon 20 also features two edge subvarieties. It is the last Sheldon variety of 1794 sent to do so on our list. The Sheldon 20A, not pictured, is also known as NC7. It is quite rare. The Sheldon 20B, shown here, is from the Clapp collection at the American Numismatic Society in New York. Sheldon 20 features a head of 93 with a close straight date. Remember, Sheldon 17 had a wide straight date. Refer back to that image to note the difference. This variety uses the obverse die 3. Note that there is no pull between the cap and the head. The reverse die is the same reverse die B that was used on Sheldon 19. Sheldon 21 features a marriage of obverse die 4 with a reverse die B. This is the only use of this obverse die. Diagnostic is the flat end of the pole. Liberty is widely spaced. A die crack extending from the rim through the tip of B to Liberty's cap is typically seen on this variety. This attractive example is from the Miller collection, image courtesy of Stax Bowers. Sheldon 22 introduces a new obverse and reverse die. This is the only use of each. This is often called the bent lock variety. According to Noyes, Sheldon 22 is typically struck on a large planchet measuring 29 millimeters. There is a conspicuous loop on the bottom lock of hair. On the reverse, most but not all examples have a distinct mound above 1. This is owed to the poor quality of the die as produced. The left ribbon does not touch the knot, and the right ribbon protrudes well above it. This is the DuPont Sheldon Robinson example. Moving on, Sheldon 23 features a new pairing, obverse 6 with reverse D. This is the only variety to use this obverse. Reverse D will also be used on Sheldon 24. Looking at the side-by-side image, you will see why this obverse die was discontinued. In perfect die state, this variety is rare. The reverse features 6 berries on the left and 7 on the right. The ribbon is higher on the right. Also, the fraction bar touches the tall numerator 1. This condition census example is from the Clapp collection. Sheldon 24 features a new obverse paired with reverse D. This is the only occurrence of this die, as the die develops a crack that bisects the coin from L to the rim near 4. You can see this crack in the gorgeous Seagrave Sheldon Nafsker Young coin. This is one of the more frequently encountered die marriages for the date. Sheldon 25 sees the first use of obverse 8. Obverse 8 will be used here and on Sheldon 26. It is identified by its wide date and wide gap between 1.7 and 9.4. There are several points where the hair strands appear to be severed from one another. Liberty is also positioned high above top of Liberty's head. Reverse D features a very short fraction bar, as you can see in this example from the Clapp collection. The bar extends from the end of the 1 to almost center of the top of the second 0. There are also 2 tiny dot-like berries at the upper leaf stem on the left. The second use of obverse 8 appears in Sheldon 26. The reverse die is reverse F. This die fails during production, resulting in a prominent crack from the first essence states to the top of the C in cent, and from the rim through E to the top of the wreath. Also, note the presence of several die clash images. This is a fairly common die marriage. This beautiful example is pedigreed to Helfenstein, Nafzger, and Stack. Sheldon 27 sees the pairing of obverse 9 and reverse G. Reverse G sticks around for Sheldon 28 as well. This is a scarce die marriage, and I could not secure an image of one better than this example from the Clap collection. This has a buckled obverse, which Noyes describes as a bulging border to the 5th hairlock. I'm not sure how visible this is in the photo. The 7th curl points directly to the top of the 1. Reverse G has a few notable features as well. There is a single leaf on the wreath at I in America. There's a tiny die break extending from the top of D toward the border, and with glass you can make out a tiny berry on the upper left branch. Sheldon 28 uses the same reverse but marries it to a new obverse, obverse 10. So far, we have seen the deployment of 10 obverses and 7 reverses to make up 11 Sheldon varieties, and we are just getting started. Sheldon 28 features a very simple expression of Liberty's hair detail. Noyes points out that straight perpendicular line can be drawn with your imagination at the termination of Liberty's 3rd, 4th, 5th, 7th, and 8th points. Liberty is punched slightly high on the die. The R is 1.5 millimeters above the head. Faint die cracks are seen in the cap, hair, nose, and border. This is a more common deployment of reverse G. Sheldon 29, which we will see in a second, is roughly equivalent to its use on reverse 10. Sheldon 29, which we will see next, is roughly equivalent to its use on obverse 10. This beautiful Sheldon 29 is from the Cardinal collection. Using the same obverse that we just examined on Sheldon 28, Sheldon 29 has a new reverse, reverse H. Reverse H is noteworthy in that it is the only reverse with a long-tailed ribbon. It is an immediately recognizable feature. Also note the use of the long-tailed R in America. We will see this long R on 2 more reverses before we conclude the 1794 issues. Sheldon 30 continues the use of reverse H, but features a radically different looking obverse die 11. This is known as the marred field obverse. You'll see a jagged raised feature in the field to the left of the hair. This is the result of a die break. Also, the hair detail is much fuller than the previous dies. Noyes suggests that, with Liberty's full cheek and mouth expression, that she appears to smile. If you look closely, you will also note minor die clash images on many examples. This is an attractive die variety and is also one of the most commonly found for the issue. This example is from the Clap collection. Sheldon 31 utilizes a new obverse and reverse die, obverse 12. Obverse 12 may pass at first glance for obverse 11. It also has a marred field, although the die crack is similar but larger and more developed. The hair detail is changed with the lowest lock cut more lightly. The reverse die features a very long fraction bar that extends beyond the denominator. The ribbon knot is also bulbous. This example is pedigreed to Sloss and Oshner. Another new die pairing appears here with Sheldon 32, matching new obverse die 13 with reverse J. We will see this obverse again on Sheldon 33 and Sheldon 34. Those later varieties are more scarce. The hair detail in this obverse has several upturned locks at the terminating point. The date is far away from the bust, nearly touching the denticles. Liberty is also high on the design. The obverse design will show weak milling on the right side. Note the rim break at LI. The reverse has a short fraction bar, and you will see that a berry is aligned between the leg and the post of R in America. A die break develops in this reverse that runs through the S. On this example, you will not see that feature. This is the more common pairing of obverse 13. Sheldon 33 is an R6 variety. This example is from the Clap collection held at the American Numismatic Society. The LI rim break is still present, same weak milling. On the reverse, we see 1 cent is weakly impressed. The reverse fairly quickly develops spokes, 4 and then 6 before reaching its terminal state. You can see the spokes clearly on this example. Sheldon 34 sees the same obverse on the common 32 and scarce 33 continued, this time with reverse L. Again, note the rim break at LI. Hair detail is the same. A rim break is developing in the cap area. The reverse sees the ribbon bow connect to the knot off to the left side, practically missing it. There is a single berry to the immediate left of the ribbon. This excellent example is pedigree to Hall, Bland, Sheldon, and Nafsker. Sheldon 35 is the only appearance of obverse 14. Obverse 14 is paired with reverse L from Sheldon 34. This variety starts with a perfect die and quickly deteriorates, as you can see from the jagged line that bisects the coin from north to south. The date on this obverse die is very close to the denticles, with the 9 merging with them. R is double cut and touches the denticle. The hair detail features 7 fine locks. This is a scarce R5 plus variety. Sheldon 36. This example is from the Clap collection. Here we see Liberty's head situated slightly low on the coin, terminating near the date. The bust rests off of the number 4. The lowest curl terminates about 2 millimeters from the date. The reverse is the second one to feature just 1 berry to the immediate left of the bow. This reverse die is also paired with Sheldon 37 and 38. This is a scarce variety that is only known in the present die state. Sheldon 37 heralds the deployment of obverse die 16. Note the distance between the 1 and the rest of the date. Noyes notes 8 distinct hair locks, with the second to last being longer than usual and pointing down. This variety features the same reverse that we saw on Sheldon 36. Sheldon 37 is a scarce variety, and this example is one of the finest known, from the Clap collection at the ANS. Sheldon 38 is the first of 3 die varieties to feature this obverse, number 17. Immediately apparent is the presence of a large die chip behind Liberty's hair. A blunt, single lock of hair wraps toward the date at the bottom. On the reverse, we see the same die as used on Sheldon 36 and 37. A single berry is present to the immediate left of the bow, 6 berries on the left and 7 on the right. This example is also from the Clap collection. Sheldon 39, like Sheldon 38, uses obverse number 17. The marred fields remains visible, with a visible die chip behind Liberty's hair. The identifying features of this variety appear on the reverse. Here, you have 6 berries to the right and 7 on the left. 1 cent is positioned high inside the wreath. Also note that the ribbon terminates close to the A. This example is from the Clap collection. Sheldon 40 is the final of 3 die marriages to use obverse 17. Again, easily identifiable due to the marred field. The reverse utilizes die O. The bow is small and extends high above the knot. This example from the Clap collection shows die cracks at the D and the N, which is characteristic of die state B. Note 7 berries on the left and right. Moving on to Sheldon 41. Again, this example is from the Clap collection. This variety features the 18th obverse for the issue and as a new reverse, which is identified as reverse die Q. Notice the marred field is now gone. A variety marker for this obverse is the short hair locks above and below Liberty's pole. On the date, the numerals 1 and 4 are spaced apart, while the 79 is punched closer together. The date almost touches the border. On the reverse, the berries are small on this die. The fraction bar is low and shorter than the spread of the denominator. Some examples will show a large crack from the edge through the 18 states through the wreath and landing at 1. Overall, this is an R3 variety. Sheldon 42 reuses obverse 18, so the same features that we used to identify Sheldon 41 are in play, and all known examples of this variety are struck with an obverse die in perfect condition. To identify Sheldon 42, one must turn the coin over and study the reverse. Sheldon 42 is the first of 2 varieties to use reverse R. Here, the number of berries on each side of the wreath is 6. The center dot, visible on many varieties of 1794 cents, is seen on the reverse die merged at the top left serif of the N and cent. Specialists know this reverse as the week of reverse, as the word of in the legend is poorly defined. This example is pedigreed to brand Sheldon Navsker. The image was taken by Goldberg auctioneers. Sheldon 43 introduces a new obverse which is marred to the same reverse we saw in Sheldon 42. This is the short obverse which lacks the loop at the bottom left of the bust truncation. Liberty's hair features 7 short locks and the curls in her hair are thick and wavy. The top of numerals 1 and 4 touch the figure above. Reverse R is employed again. Note the feint of. In this variety, we see progression of heavy die cracks in the reverse. The illustrated example from the clap collection at the A&S shows a faint, thin crack splitting the U in United. In later states, this crack becomes thicker and dominates the reverse, extending through the wreath and touching C and cent before terminating at the A in states. This is not the only crack apparent on this reverse die. The Sheldon 43 is an R3 variety, and is slightly less scarce than the R4 Sheldon 42. With Sheldon 44, we arrive at the halfway point of 1794 Liberty cap cents. Obverse 19 sees its second deployment. Short bust, a tip of the numerals 1 and 4 touch the figure above, hair is wavy and short locks. The reverse now is reverse S, which is only seen on Sheldon 44. Note the large berry to the left of C and cent. This is your naked eye identifier for this reverse. The obverse of Sheldon 44 will always appear cracked. Here you see cracks extending through the left side of Liberty's cap and through the 1 and 7 of the date. On reverse S, we see 7 berries instead of the 6 that were engraved on S43. The berry opposite of C is large and pronounced. The reverse is found with or without die cracks. More often than not, a prominent die crack is visible running from the border to the left of O and of, and down to the N and 1. This is a common R1 variety and is one of the more frequently found 1794 cent varieties. This example is from the Clap collection. Sheldon 45 presents us with a new die marriage consisting of obverse 20 and reverse T. Liberty's hair features thick, heavy braids with a gap between the bottom and the next to last set of curls. The 7 in the date is slightly long and hangs a touch lower than the other numerals. The tip of the 1 touches the hair, and the top of the 4 touches the bust truncation. The reverse die was damaged when put into use, and Noyes points out that much of the reverse from TA and states to the lower right branch is peppered with tiny linear marks. Typical examples will exhibit a die crack at the IC in America. The wreath exhibits 7 berries to the left and 6 to the right. The fraction bar is short and tilts up toward the right slightly. Also present is a lump in the left loop of the bow. The present example is the Strickland Lord St. Oswald Sheldon Navsker Husack specimen, most recently offered an image by Saxe Bowers. This is a scarce variety designated high R5. One could guess that given the damage it sustained prior to being put into use, that reverse T was not long for the world. Sheldon 46 marries obverse 20 with a new reverse, this time called reverse U. Reverse U features 6 berries to the left and 6 berries to the right. The bow of the ribbon is engraved high above the knot. Examples also exhibit a short break that crosses the E in United. This example, one of the finest of this R3 varieties from the Clap collection. Sheldon 47 features new obverse and reverse dies. This is obverse 21, which we will see used here and in Sheldon 48, 49, and NC9, although the die will undergo retooling before it is deployed on Sheldon 48. This is known as the short bust variety. On the obverse, the termination of the upper 2 locks is bulbous, ending abruptly. The next lock down is severed from the head. There is a double denticle to the immediate left of 1 on the date. The ribbon is off center to the left, with a frayed ribbon on the right end. This example is one of the finest known from the Clap collection at the A&S. The reverse use is reverse V. 6 berries appear on each side of the wreath. The right ribbon is split at the end. The typical example will show a small crack that extends from the border to the first A in America. Sheldon 48 features a retooled version of obverse 21 and reverse W. The Retooling removes the doubling present in the LI of Liberty. Liberty is set low on the coin and the R almost touches Liberty's hair. The upper two locks of Liberty's hair appear bulbous, almost braided before terminating. Reverse W is instantly recognizable, having 94 tiny stars punched at the tips of the denticles. This is a scarce R5 variety, and this example was photographed by PCGS. Sheldon 49 is the more common of the two varieties, featuring obverse 21. The starred reverse has been replaced with reverse X. Reverse X appears on varieties Sheldon 49 through 54. This variety can feature a perfect obverse or show a thick crack from just to the right of the 12 o'clock position through the E and into Liberty's hair. This example from the William L. Buxton collection, which was sold for $6,600 by Stack's Bowers in 2021, does not exhibit the crack. The reverse features large leaves which fan out. The tips of the leaves almost touch, which is why this reverse is referred to as having a closed wreath. At the bottom of the wreath, the ribbon is slightly canted to the right, and the right ribbon drapes down, almost touching the fraction bar. The two knots do not touch. Sheldon 50 is a scarce 1794 variety, featuring new obverse number 22 and of course reverse X. On obverse 50, the letters LI, BE, and RTY in Liberty are seemingly punched in three separate pairings. The R leans slightly to the right. You'll also see a thin strand of hair terminate upwards towards the center of the cap. The lowest lock appears to be detached from the rest of Liberty's hair. On the date, the numeral 4 touches the bust. This is a scarce R5 plus variety, making this the second rarest pairing utilizing reverse X. This example is from the Clapp collection. Sheldon 51, illustrated here again from the Clapp collection, utilizes obverse 23. This is also known as the short bust variety. The hair detail is finely engraved, like Sheldon 49, but the strands are longer. They almost extend to the left tip of the Peleus cap, but not quite. Perhaps 80% of the way there. Some examples in later die states show a prominent crack through the 1/7 of the date. Reverse X returns. This is a scarce R5 minus variety. Sheldon 52 is a seldom encountered R6 variety, featuring obverse 24 and reverse X. On this obverse, the 1 and the 4 in the date are punched with a gap that separates them from the center digits. Noyes points out that minor cracks typically show in Liberty's cap. Also, look at the difference in the hair detail. The locks are heavy and crude, the lowest lock especially. This example is from the fine Clapp collection. Sheldon 53. Again, we see the closed wreath reverse X. This time it is paired with the seldom seen obverse number 25. This obverse has a clearly identifiable date style. The 1/7 is coupled and the top of the 4 touches the bust truncation. The bottom curl hooks back towards the date. Quite striking on this die is the raised hair, which almost touches the RT in Liberty. Notice the severed 6th lock counting from the bottom. The top of the Peleus nearly touches the denticles. This example is also from the Clapp collection. Sheldon 54 sees the first of 3 uses of obverse 26. This will be the final deployment for reverse X. Only Sheldon 49 is more frequently encountered with this reverse die. The other marriages are quite scarce, as we've discussed. This obverse is immediately recognizable as the 7 of the date is canted to the right. That and the touching tips of the wreath make this variety easy to identify. This example, again, is from the Clapp collection. Sheldon 55 again uses obverse 26. On this example and on all examples you will encounter, there will be a thin die crack from the rim to the hair starting just below the 9 o'clock position. Again, note the slanted 7. Reverse die Y is new to this variety. It features 2 close knots that do not touch on the ribbon. The berries are large and oriented 6 to the left and 5 to the right. The top berry on the right rests on the stem. The A in states is canted to the left and sits too high. This is a pleasing and commonly found variety of 1794 scent. This example is again from the Clap collection at the American Numismatic Society. Sheldon 56 sees the last deployment of obverse 26. This time it is married to reverse Z. Sheldon 56 may be the end of the alphabet as the 26th number and letter, but we still have 16 more Sheldon numbers for this date, if you can believe it. Again, slanting 6, die crack at the back of the hair. The die state is getting later, obviously. The reverse is called by Noyes and others as the office boy reverse, given the crudeness of the wreath, which is asymmetrical. Also note how the A and M in America are spaced wide apart. The ribbon bow is detached from the knot, and the E in 1 is set slightly high and canted to the right. This is an R3 variety, and this example is the Clap coin. Sheldon 57 is known to specialists as the pyramidal head, a name attributed to the coin by Dr. Edward Maris, whose monograph, Varieties of the Copper Issues of the United States Mint, in the year 1794, was published in the 1860s. He used several quasi-medical terms to describe varieties of 1794 cents. The text helped popularize the issue despite the small number of collectors active at the time. Noyes describes the sweep of the hair on the left as being straight, evoking the shape of a pyramid. The fifth lock of hair is severed at the tip. The date is evenly spaced. Although some of this variety come with perfect dies, the present example, pedigree to Strickland, Lord St. Oswald, Sheldon, Nafsker, and Walter Husack, exhibits a thin die crack that extends to Liberty's mouth, almost resembling a snake. The reverse is referred to as reverse die double A. 7 large berries adorn each side of the wreath, with the lowest berry on the left side touching the bottom of the bow loop. The bottom leaf on the right side points to and almost touches the C. This is a common variety for the date. Next up is Sheldon 58. This variety features a new die marriage. Obverse die 28 is first deployed here, and we will see it again in Sheldon 59. The reverse is die BB, which is only used in this variety. Liberty's hair is described as thick, almost clumpy behind the ear, terminating with 7 locks. The date is widely spaced. The numeral 1 almost touches the bottom of Liberty's hair. Reverse BB features 6 berries to the left, 7 berries to the right. These are large berries. The right side ribbon protrudes farther up than the left side and crosses the 2 stem segments. Noyes notes that this variety is always found to be struck on thick planchets. A crack and cud develops on the reverse, which informs us to why the die was retired. The location of the break is from the rim through UNIT. This perfect example is from the Clap collection. Sheldon 59 uses the thick hair wide date obverse die number 28 used in Sheldon 58. The reverse, called reverse CC, is easily identifiable. It features 7 berries on each side of the wreath, 3 berries on the outside of the wreath, and 4 on the inside. Usually you will see a crack on the reverse starting below the left ribbon at the rim through the fraction bar and terminating between the A and C at the rim. This will eventually break off in a later die state. The left side of the ribbon has been recut. The berries and crack give this variety away, though. This is a rarity 3 variety, making it nearly as scarce as the Sheldon 58. This beautiful example is pedigree to the Strickland, Lord St. Oswald, Sheldon, Nafsker, and Holmes collections. The image was made by PCGS. Sheldon 60 features a new die pair, obverse 29, which we will see used again in Sheldon 61, and reverse DD. Obverse 29 features thick hair, is struck on a thick planchet, and features a tightly spaced date. Counting from the bottom, the 5th lockup is detached at the tip. Noyes notes that the clash marks are typically visible on the obverse, especially at the top. Reverse DD will likely exhibit numerous cracks. The ribbon on the right is high and does not touch the knot or the bow. 6 berries on the left, only 5 on the right, 1 at the top and 1 in the upper middle, and a cluster of 3 towards the 3 o'clock position. This example is from the Lord St. Oswald, Sheldon, and Nafsker collections and was imaged by Goldberg auctioneers. Sheldon 61 is the second variety to use obverse 29, It is the first variety to use reverse double E, which we will see again in Sheldon 62. Again, Avars 29 features thick hair and is struck up on a thick planchet. The tightly spaced date and detached fifth lock of hair should help you identify this Avars. The reverse has two noticeable details that should immediately stand out. The final zero of the fraction is punched too high, and the right stem is noticeably shorter than the stem on the left. Minor cracks will typically be found on the Sheldon 61. This example was photographed by Goldberg auctioneers and traces its pedigree to the Gilbert Grambridge Stack and Boca collections. Sheldon 62 introduces a new Avars die, Avars die number 30. This die is unique to this variety. The reverse die EE continues from Sheldon 61. Noyes describes the hair detail on this variety as heavy and stubby at the lower lock. This is the thickest lower lock of any 1794 cent variety. Typical examples may exhibit a large rim break, as is the case with this example from the Clapp collection. There are examples with a perfect Avars as well. Reverse, same as Sheldon 61. The final zero of the fraction is punched too high, and the right stem is noticeably shorter than the stem on the left. Sheldon 63 features a unique Avars and reverse die marriage, and this one is aesthetically a disaster. Liberty is punched way too high and nearly touches the denticles. LI in Liberty shows an awkward amount of separation and does not follow the expected curvature that we find in most varieties. The date is repunched with the 4 dangling. The 9 is also misplaced. Notice the spur jutting out towards the 4. Smaller spurs jut out towards the end of the pole. The reverse has a heavy, pronounced denticle. The bottom leaf on the right appears only in a faint outline. The fraction bar's right point touches the ribbon. Once you see this variety, you won't likely forget it. This example was photographed by Goldberg auctioneers. Sheldon 64 features a die Avars number 32 that is used in Sheldon 64 and 5 and NC6. The reverse die is unique to this variety and is instantly identifiable due to the missing fraction bar. The reverse also exhibits 7 berries on each side of the wreath. A heavy crack at D develops, shortening this die's life. The Avars has a deep border milling on the left side. This shields the raised elements, specifically the hair and cap. This is actually a quite striking variety in terms of quality of the image. Hair details follow up in nearly a straight line. They are well cut. The date is compact. The top tip of the numeral 1 touches the bottom lock. A scarce R5 variety, this example is pedigreed to Mills, Newcomb, Nafsker, and Husak, and was imaged by Stax Bowers. Sheldon 65 reuses Avars 32 and introduces reverse double H. Avars 32 enters the marriage in perfect state and develops cracks. In later die states, the reverse will display heavy cracks. Note on this example from the Clapp collection, a very pronounced crack from 12 o'clock, extending through the top of the wreath. Same as 64, the milling is deeply cut, protecting the attractive hair elements and the Liberty cap. The reverse die exhibits a very short stem on both sides. The berries are large, with the 2 closest to the left side of the bow being especially pronounced. This is a common variety for the 1794 cent. See if you can spot one next time you're at a coin show. Sheldon 66 introduces us to a new Avars, a single-use Avars number 33 and reverse II, which we will see again in Sheldon Varieties 67, 68, and 69. Sheldon 66 is the scarcest deployment, however. The Avars features a distant 1. Noyes and others describe the figures as being heavy or of large type. Your typical example will feature a die break at the end of the pole, although some will feature a perfect Avars die. This example, pedigreed to Clark, Sheldon, Nafsker, Husak, and Holmes, shows a die break which extends towards the hair. The reverse features a double leaf under the O. You'll typically see a triple leaf here. The A and M in America are slightly larger. A is double cut. The fraction bar does not extend to the tip of the denominator. 6 berries on the left and 7 are on the right. You may also notice some damage to the dies above the wreath and below the ribbon knot. We're now entering the home stretch, 6 more collectible Sheldon varieties to go. Sheldon 67 uses obverse 34 and reuses reverse II. This is the second of 4 varieties to use this reverse. This is an R3 variety. The reverse features a double leaf under the O. You'll typically see a triple leaf there. The A and M in America are slightly larger. The A is double cut. The fraction bar does not extend to the tip of the denominator. 6 berries to the left and 7 on the right. You may also notice some damage to the dies above the wreath and below the knot. The obverse features a large circular curl at the bottom of Liberty's hair. Liberty's hair at the top ends just underneath the upright bar of the T. This variety will typically exhibit clash marks from contact with the reverse die. Notably, a leaf image or Liberty's hair and forehead meet. Die cracks will also usually appear on the face, upper lip, and cheek. Sheldon 68 features the third deployment of reverse II. Refer to the descriptions of the past 2 coins for the details. Reverse number 35 is deployed here. This variety will feature light and heavy die cracks bisecting Liberty's face. Noyes points out 5 bulbous or braided locks. The date is punched tightly together. This example is from the Clap collection at the A&S. Sheldon 68 is an R5 variety. Sheldon 69, but let's wait before we get into that. Take a look at this gorgeous example from the Strickland, Lord St. Oswald, Nafsker, and Pogue pedigreed collections. Image courtesy of Stax Bowers. Okay, now that we've got that out of the way, Sheldon 69 is the final deployment of reverse II. It is the first of 2 varieties to use obverse 36. Here, the lowest lock forms a small circle. There are 5 braided strands of hair. The 1 and 7 are double cut. Liberty's hair at the top ends right below the bottom serif of the T. The reverse features a double leaf under the O. You'll typically see a triple leaf here. The A and M in America are slightly larger. A is double cut. The fraction bar does not extend to the tip of the denominator. 6 berries to the left and 7 on the right. You may also notice some damage to the dies above the wreath and the knot. With Sheldon 70, we see the second use of obverse 36 and the first of 2 uses of reverse JJ. Here, the lowest lock forms a small circle. There are 5 braided strands of hair. The 1 and 7 are double cut. Liberty's hair at the top ends right below the bottom serif of the T. L is far from the cap. There's typically a crack that runs through the T and Y, although perfect obverse strikes exist. The reverse features a double leaf under O, unusual, and a triple leaf under D in United. The numerator rests on the bar. 6 berries to the left and 7 to the right. This image is courtesy of PCGS. We're getting near the end of our collectible Sheldon varieties of 1794 cents. I'm glad you made it all the way through this video, or if you skipped ahead to the varieties that you're most curious about, I thank you for using this video to help you identify your coins. Here is Sheldon 71. And this example is from the Lord St. Oswald, Bland, Halpern, and Husak collections, imaged by Stax Bowers. Sheldon 71 features obverse 37 in its only use and reverse JJ in the second of 2 marriages. The reverse features a double leaf under O and a triple leaf under D in United. The numerator again rests on the bar, 6 berries to the left and 7 to the right. The obverse features a small circular curl at the bottom of Liberty's hair. Liberty is evenly spaced. This example, as do many but not all, has a clear clash impression of America, which is visible after Liberty in the image on your screen. There are 3 lap marks on Liberty's face due to die damage. The top of Liberty's hair extends 2/3 of the way to the base of T. This is a fairly common variety at R2. Our last collectible Sheldon variety is Sheldon 72. This features a new obverse, obverse 39, and a new reverse, KK. We'll also see this reverse used in NC3. Obverse 39 features the head style of 1795. This is the only 1794 cent with this head style. The lowest lock of hair does not curl but ends in a stub. Liberty nearly touches the head at the bottom of the T. Many examples of this variety exhibit die cracks, which progressively get heavier during its use. The reverse features a triple leaf under O, a double leaf under D. Noyes describes the stems as drooping. 6 berries to the left and 7 to the right. The key here, obviously, is the obverse, folks. This example was imaged by PCGS. The 1794 cent continues to be one of the most popularly collected large cents, and the challenge to collect the date by variety continues to provide lifelong exhilaration for advanced specialists. Even if you do not have the budget to collect every variety of this date, knowing how to identify a variety may help you with counterfeit detection and cherry picking. Before buying any expensive coin, be sure to do your research. Work with reputable dealers and auction houses. You can also improve your experience by joining Early American Coppers, a collecting group specializing in research and promotion of this important segment of the numismatic hobby. You can join EAC by visiting their website. A link will be provided in the description. For CoinWeek, I'm Charles Morgan. Until next time, happy collecting.